We go.
Welcome back to the Tier1 podcast. I'm your host, Brent Tucker, owner of FRCC. That's First Responder Coffee, Cigar, and Cask Company. We do just that. Coffee, cigars, and bourbon. We do it better than anyone else. Go to frcc.shop and use promo code Tier1 to get 15% off the world's best coffee, cigars, and bourbon.
And I'm Drew Tucker, flavor injector of cigars at frcc.shop. Guys, I invite you to join our Patreon. It's brought to you by Cobalt Kinetics. When you join our Patreon, you join a community of Tier 1 men. So join the network today. There's behind-the-scenes exclusive content. There's a weapons forum. There's a fitness forum for your fitness journey. And in that weapons forum is a weapons expert ready to answer all of your weapons questions. Join the Patreon today. You'll be glad you did.
And as always, this episode is brought to you by Human Performance TRT. Go to hp-trt.com and use promo code Tier1 to get 20% off all your testosterone and peptide needs. Don't wait any longer to get in the best shape of your life. Let's do it, Drew.
Or the Special Forces ready.
Welcome to the Tier 1 podcast.
This is amazing, dude. Check this out, right?
And with us today, we have former Green Beret and current strength and conditioning coach for the University of Florida, Rusty Whitt. Welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you. Awesome. It's a pleasure being here. Huge privilege. Thank you.
That's two of my favorite things: Gator football and special forces. You living the dream,
I
Rusty.
am right now. I am. Life's been good, so let's keep it rolling.
Love to hear it. Well, speaking of life, let's rewind a little bit and see how all this came about. Where you from, and how'd all this start?
Okay, it's a winding road. So I grew up in a small town outside of Fort Worth called Azle, Texas. 4A high school, which was kind of a mid-sized back then. Grew up with my mom and dad, encouraged me to be, playing baseball, bass fishing, very active outside. My brother was into BMX, biking. He was kind of fearless in that regard. Got into motorcycles, quad racing, all that. So I had a little bit of an adventuresome spirit.
Yeah.
My mother was a librarian. When I was in 7th grade, she brings home a book called The Green Berets by Robin Moore.
Yeah.
And it didn't have enough pictures in it. I was pouring through, and I was enamored by that. Well, tucked that away for a while, and then high school football, ran track, and then I was a 6'2", 178-pound skinny, Bambi on ice with big feet, and just was a late bloomer, and I didn't have anybody recruit me. So growing up in a Church of Christ, my mother encouraged me to walk on to Abilene Christian University. It's a Church of Christ college, Abilene, Texas. So I walked on, and my dad was like, "You got one semester." My dad never graduated high school. He went to the 101st. He went to the Army, 101st Airborne. He learned his craft in the Army as a helicopter electrician.
Okay.
Aerospace electrician. So his value of college was different than my mother. She had a master's in library science, whatever, but she wanted me to go to college. I wanted to play college football. So my dad says, "You got one semester I'll pay for, and then you're on your own." So Marines, Army, you pick.
What a deal.
Yeah. So I was like, I had a little bit of urgency about me.
Yeah.
So I walked on, and back then, the first day was helmet. We had 3-a-days.
Sheesh.
And you had a two-day practice and a night walk through special teams practice. So the first day was helmet, T-shirt, shorts. Second day was helmet, shoulder pads, shorts. Third day was full pads. And I was like the water boy, just hitting everything, you know. Hey, it's a stud. And I was just going full speed. My first day in pads, I had a really good scrimmage, and I got a half scholarship and a meal ticket. And then I was off to the races there. I got my confidence that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And then proceeded to get a full scholarship, and I played a whole lot. Sustained some concussions because my tackling technique wasn't very good. Led with my head too much.
Yeah.
But loved it, made some awesome friends, and spent 5 years in Abilene, and then got a degree in criminal justice. But during that time, it was a very tumultuous time in society. When I'm getting a degree in criminal justice, you had the Rodney King incident. Yep. You had the Waco Branch Davidian thing go down. You had the O.J. Simpson thing was kicking off. So law enforcement was really under a lot of scrutiny. Mm-hmm. And about that time, I had a strength and conditioning coach show up. Never had one before my last year, named Cliff Felkins. Shout out to Cliff. He's still the track and field throwers coach at Texas Tech. And he changed my whole life. Just showed me how to do things right in the weight room, how to eat right, and it changed my life. You know, my trajectory turned. Started going back to school, starting over again to work on kinesiology, you know, sports science.
Okay.
And in the meantime, I'm working at a Gold's Gym, being around all that kind of culture, and I really got snake bit into that. You know, just coaching, personal training. And then I got my very first graduate assistant job at a place called Midwestern State, a Division II, Wichita Falls, Texas. There's an Air Force base there with, you know, trainers flying over your head all day long in Wichita Falls. And I got my huge step up was University of Texas. I realized I wanted to go to bigger, better facilities, a bigger environment, and I canvassed every college you can dream of: Arkansas, OU, Nebraska, University of Texas, Houston. You name the college, I called. University of Tennessee, and I called, and this is before cell phones. I'm leaving answering machine messages for all these guys, and one man called me back, and it was Rock Gullickson, who was the head strength coach at University of Texas. Rock is one of my best friends still, mentor to me. We talk on the daily. And Rock said, if you can get in graduate school at Texas, I will consider hiring you.
Okay. So
I had to retake the GRE, took it, got a good enough score to get admitted to the University of Texas. He goes, come on down and we'll interview you. So I drove down there, met him and Evan Marcus, who's still a good friend of mine, Ed Nordenschildt, who's a retired strength coach, Angel Spazov, who was a head strength coach for Romanian Olympic team at one point. So I met all these guys, and it was awesome, and I was so excited when Rock offered me a job. So that was a big springboard for my career. I was there for a little over a year, and then I got an internship at the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs. To finish, like a grad, it was basically my thesis was to go work there for about 6 months. Turned in around 8 months. And as soon as I walked in the door, I was head strength coach for USA Volleyball, Greco-Roman wrestling, badminton, Taekwondo. I had this strange array of athletes, Paralympic athletes, you know, and it was just overwhelming the amount of urgency, awareness, professionalism these athletes had. Yeah. And I learned more from them than they learned from me, you know. Yeah. So it further fueled my fire. I got a job at William & Mary under John Sauer, who's still coaching. And then I went from there to Louisville, University of Louisville with Rock, hired me back. Rock had been let go at Texas, and then he went to Louisville and hired me there again. And when I was at Louisville, I was interviewed for a job at Sam Houston State to be the head guy, and got my very first head job at Sam Houston State in 1999, and I'm there for a couple of years. We bring in this is a kind of a momentous occasion in my life. We bring in a transfer quarterback from SMU named Josh McCown, exceptional athlete, went on to play like 18 years in the NFL, but Josh is power cleaning 325. He worked out at the latter part of the day because he had a lawn mowing job, and I'm working out with him. Josh cleans 325 for a triple, and he goes, "I bet you can't hit that, old man." So I hit it for one. I should have stopped.
Okay.
Went for two, barely got it. Went for three, and I caught it like a starfish, and my right knee buckled, and I broke my femoral head, tore meniscus, and tore my ACL. And that's why I teach the power cleaning the way I teach it now.
Yeah.
You know, it was a big learning experience for me. And so this is around July 15th, right, of 01.
Okay.
I go, my knee is so swollen, they say, "Hey, we're going to let your knee go calm down before we work on it."
Yeah.
So August 15th, about a month later, I go in for a reconstruction surgery. Bone putty, repair the meniscus, do all this work. The meniscus repair was the longest part to heal, you know, ACL reconstruction, all that. And so a month later, I'm coaching in a lockout brace on a Tuesday morning, September 11th, and I'm coaching my groups. I go home to change. I got to teach 2 classes in the kinesiology department. I go home to shower and change, turn on the TV, and I'm watching a tower collapse like a stack of ashes, you know.
Yeah.
My grandmother called me, and she was around 22 years of age when Pearl Harbor occurred. And she calls me, Joyce, her name's Joyce Miller. She called me, and she goes, "Hey, Rusty, are you watching this?" And I was like, "Yeah, what's going on?" She's like, "This is your Pearl Harbor."
Yeah.
And, you know, unlike, you know, like so many others, you just felt this huge impulse, compulsion, whatever it was. So I rehabilitated my leg for about a year. I took about a year to get it right, and then got some financial affairs in order. My first wife, we were, you know, dating, and I was like, "Would you be still interested if I were to make this drastic career decision?" I had a good job. I was head strength coach at Sam Houston State. We're having success. My trajectory was going this way, and I just walked across the street. February of 03, right before the invasion of Iraq, I walked across the street I'm 31 years old. I walk into the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. And I'd done some research. My eyesight was not going to allow me to be a pilot. Okay. And I thought about the Navy, but I never grew up around the sea. Or anything. I was like, my swimming would take a lot of work. So had that Robin Moore book, you know, my Green Beret book. So I walked in and I was like, "Hey, I want to join the Army. I want to go to Special Forces." He goes, "How old are you?" I said, 31. He goes, "Well, the X-ray cutoff is 28.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So there was a poster on the wall, and you've probably seen the picture of a Ranger in water up to his chest holding his M16, and he has a Ranger tab on his hat.
Yep.
And I said, "Well, I want to do that." And he goes, "We can make that work." So signed my life away, and infantry, 11 Bravo, you're going to do this. You're going to get an option 40 to go to Ranger Ranger
School.
It was RIP back then.
RIP. Okay, you're going right to battalion.
Yeah. So once you graduate airborne school, you basically go right into RIP. So I'm like, okay, 4-year deal, 4-year contract. That's an important little notation there. The 4-year contract that I signed. Go to airborne school, and then my sergeant airborne was like, "Dude, you're awful old. Like, you're not the same age. What are you doing?" And he knew the SF recruiter at Benning was a guy named Master Sergeant Kurlowitz.
Okay.
And all my buddies I made in basic and airborne were all X-rays.
Yep.
So before our very last jump, I'm sitting back to back with this guy. It was a night equipment jump, and we had, the 2x4 simulated rifle and all the junk on us. And I'm leaning there, and it's getting dark, and then the first Green Beret I ever saw in my life comes walking in the hangar, and it was Master Sergeant Karlowitz, like 6'5", 240, an action figure comes walking in. He's like, "I'm looking for Whitt, Russell T, 9307." And I was like, "Here's one." And he goes, "Your orders got changed. You want to go to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and go to the Q course?" And I was like, "Roger, Sergeant." Took my orders, folded them up, put them in my cargo pocket, says, "Good luck," and walked out.
I love it. Here at the Tier 1 podcast, we're excited to have Tasty Gains as a sponsor, a company with values that aligns with ours. I take their products every day, 3 times a day. And if it wasn't a product that I didn't take personally and believe in, and a company with integrity, then they wouldn't be sponsors on this show. Creatine helps the body produce more ATP, which is an energy molecule that your entire body runs on. It helps improve your physical and mental performance in all aspects of life. Let's be honest, creatine powder sucks to take every day. With the creatine gummies, you can take them with you anywhere, and they taste great. Every batch is third-party tested, so you know you're getting exactly what you pay for. Go to tastygains.com and enter the promo code Tier1, that's TIER, the number 1, and get 20% off your order.
We jumped, and then
How was your knees or your knee throughout this process, and now it's really getting tested at jump school?
I had rehabbed it. I was as strong as I ever was. Didn't give me any trouble. I felt like my strength was good. I didn't have any swelling going on.
Yeah.
It didn't start catching up until later.
Okay.
So we graduated and got our blood wings and had a fun time doing that. I was engaged. I was going to get married between airborne school and, I thought I was going to RIP, so we hadn't really set a date. And then when I realized everything was going to change, we had this like impromptu little package that we bought to go to Harrah's Casino, Lake Tahoe. So me and my buddies, 3 of my buddies, we piled in my truck. We drove down to Atlanta, had a very fast bachelor party. I flew to Tahoe, got married, and literally we flew back to DFW Airport, and I had to catch a plane back to Charlotte, I guess, to get to Fort Bragg, and it was like, "See you when I see you."
Yeah.
And off I went to SOP C.
Could you remind them, or some people may not know, because you kind of slid in there, what blood wings are?
So when you graduate airborne school, you get the silver wings pinned on your chest. Well, our sergeant airborne left a little epaulets, what they're called, off the back, and they put it in your shirt, and they punch you. Right. Well, then our entire platoon walks around and punches each other.
Yeah.
So you get hit in the chest several times, and you're bleeding out of your pec. And if you do it right, your BDUs, to date myself, your BDUs were, probably about a coffee cup size blood stain on your BDU.
Right. Those little pins in the back are just stab it into your pec.
Little quarter-inch pins.
Yeah, they're quarter-inch. Yeah.
Then they would pull them out and relocate them and give you some.
Oh, that's savage.
So we got our blood wings. And then we
Something
drove.
tells me they don't do that anymore, but I hope they do.
Oh, I think they still do, whether it's regulated or not.
Yeah, whether it's regulated or not.
We drove. We were so excited. Me and my buddies drove to Atlanta. We stopped at some bar. We're wearing our uniforms. We still have our wings and our blood wings, and we go into a bar, just walking. Not supposed to do this, right? We walk in, and And at this point, America was still kind of unified, and we were pretty popular. We didn't have to buy a drink for like an hour. And then we went to a guy was dating a girl, and one of my buddies was dating a girl in Atlanta. We changed, went out, and had one night. And then I flew to Dallas, met my wife, my fiance, my first wife. We flew to Tahoe, got married, and then went back and whirlwind tour. And then January 4th, 2004, I'm standing in formation at SOP-C with 278 guys at the SOP-C barracks at Fort Bragg. And that kicked off that adventure.
Right. And we wouldn't even know it at the time, but that'll put us at Bragg at the same time. I'd have been at the end of my journey. You'd have been at the beginning of yours.
Yeah, you'd been there a year or so before me. So
and
did you get in the gig pit?
yeah, I was familiar with the gig pit.
We were all immersed into the gig pit.
Yeah. So the gig pit for everyone is just this vile pit of muddy water that's held in by sandbags, and it's just
fecal.
Yeah, just everything bad. It's been there. It's full of bacteria. It smells like sewage. It is like sewage. And if you do something wrong, you got to go to the gig pit, and they're going to do up and down drills on you, make you roll around in it, make you do push-ups in it, sit-ups in it, whatever it is they want you to do in it. And you're going to go in fully uniformed for as long as they want. And it may not be just you. It could be a whole squad. Mm-hmm. It could be everyone they could fit in a gig pit. And they're going to have you in there until they're satisfied that whatever is that needed to be corrected is now corrected.
Zastro said it was the representation of a third world country. That's what he told us. Yeah. Because when you walk by, you smelled it and everything. So
I tell you what's unfortunate about that, and I'm all for. It's turned into a bad word, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Hazing, hazing can go too far, but there's nothing wrong with hazing and forging young men by putting them through hard times and hard corrective actions that make them not make the same mistake twice. We have to have it. But the unfortunate thing about the gig pit was, we're doing land navigation at the time, and everyone's coming back. You're busting brush, and everyone has all these scratches on their arms and legs and hands. Yeah. And you put them in that gig pit, and we did lose a few really good dudes that got rolled over. Yeah. I hope they still made it, but to infection. Mm-hmm. And that was the unfortunate part about it.
Yeah. But the great times are forged through shared misery. So we rolled around that. And then the very first night, 278 guys. One of the sergeants said, "Who's the oldest guy in this formation?" And they all knew it was me.
Right, yeah.
So I had to call out roll. And it took me a long time because he got med boarded. He got this. And I'm just going down the list. And then out come the dogs, Gunner, the Weimaraner, and a couple of Dobermans. And then they said, take off your PCs, put your wallet, your watch, everything but your wedding ring into the hat. And then this was around 6:30 p.m. And they didn't stop smoking us until probably 4 a.m. It went forever.
Yeah.
And like 125 guys quit that first night. So they were really, and that was SOP-C hold.
Right. Oh, it was a SOP-C hold. Yeah. You're not even in SOP-C.
We had to wait 2 weeks before SOP-C started. So
yeah. And if everyone doesn't know, SOP-C is it's a selection preparation program. So it's just a gate to go through to get to selection. Man, you just got me thinking about a whole bunch of SOP-C stories, but they do ridiculous things like that. They would do like psychological things where we'd be running during morning PT. We'd do PT 2-3 times a day. Mm-hmm. And they would take us out to the parade field, which was right behind SOP-C for the 82nd. There's a huge 82nd billboard there. Mm-hmm. And they just put us in the front leaning rest, and they just tell us all, guys, there's nothing wrong with going to the 82nd. It is the premier airborne unit of the United States of America. It's a privilege to go to that place. And Special Forces isn't for everyone, but it's okay. You're still going to serve your country. And they'd start talking up the 82nd, trying to get guys to go to the 82nd and see what their willpower was. They'd try everything to get you to quit.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
There was an ice storm and we were SOP C, and the base would close down, and then they called us into a formation, and I believe it was Terry, Master Sergeant Terry, goes, SF doesn't stop training just because it was cold. So we were allowed to wear a beanie hat. We had our T-shirts on, our Ranger panties, and we took off on about a 10-mile run. And he had his Labrador with him, tromping through the snow. And every day there was something, some sort of gut check. Feel your rucksack as heavy, as much junk as you can stuff in it, you know. But I remember it was your awareness, your self-preservation was so tested every day.
Yeah.
It brought out the very best. And then when you see guys, how like your friends handle the stress around you, and you feel so motivated, hey, I can't succumb to this, you know.
Yeah.
I got to be strong for my buddy, you know.
Yeah. I've said it before, quitting is contagious, but so is staying there. So is being strong. So is sticking it out. That's contagious too. And when I'm from my SOP C days, I still have friends that I talk to because, like you said, you form a bond during those absolutely ridiculous hard times, and you know the type of man they are now because you've seen the worst. And then you go to selection and see another type of worst, and then you go to SUT and see another type of worst.
I think that's when the phase 2 SUT is when it really, because guys you respected just got broke off. You know, they got, I know guys that, you know, they got cellulitis, they got a broken ankle, they had a head injury or whatever, and they had to get recycled, or one entire hut got kicked out for doing something. I can't recall what it was. It was something on the objective. A couple of guys like flagged each other or something, but they already simmed them, made them bear crawl like 1,000 yards, and then I think they had like a mini revolt, and they kicked the entire hut. Like 15 guys got kicked out.
So to keep everyone on the on the timeline, SOP C, and do you remember how long SOP C was? 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
You get a weekend off, and then you go to selection. Selection's 3 or 4 weeks. You get a short stint to lick your wounds, and then you go to phase 2.
PLDC BNOC.
You go to PLDC BNOC.
Then phase 2.
Which is allows you to be promoted. You know, if you make it through the Q course, if I remember right, you get credit for PLDC right away, but you don't get credit for BNOC until you graduate the Q course. And PLDC, Primary Leadership Development course, BNOC, the basic non-commissioned officer course. Yeah. I'm sure all those names have changed now and dating us.
Which, again, I had a tremendous time in that, too.
Yeah, a lot of PT there, too. What I'm getting at is and then phase 2.
Small unit tactics.
With small unit tactics, thank you. And we're going to tell these stories about phase 2, but it's not just an isolated in phase 2. You've gone through all these schools, and before that, you were at airborne school, and before that, you were at basic training. Your body is getting tested and worn down and worn down and worn down. By the time you hit phase 2, I think that's really, you have a bunch of men that clearly don't want to quit. But it's easy to not quit when you're fresh. It's a lot harder after just 6 months of just continually getting beat down to the ground. That's where psychologically phase 2, I don't think people realize it's not just phase 2. It's this whole path you've been on.
And I think that's where the age started creeping in. You know, most of the guys were in their 20s, late 20s, you know. And then the culmination of everything, you know, started sneaking up on some guys. But
because it feels like it's never going to end. And you're really at the beginning still of the
Yeah,
Q course.
You haven't even
and it
got into your
weighs on
MOS
you.
phase yet.
Right.
So.
And here's something else that's unique about small unit tactics. Up until this time, you're really only being tested individually. Everything, from basic training, there's a couple team stuff and platoon size, but it's really individual. Airborne school is very individual. SOP-C is, for the most part, an individual. Same thing with selection. Even though you have some team events, everything's individual. When you get to small unit tactics, you're both expected to be a very good follower, and now you're expected to be a very good leader. And that's where I was always physically fit. I was a leading by example guy, and then I got to SUT, and I had my come to Jesus moment when I had neglected a step in the Ranger handbook I was supposed to run an ambush, and I jacked up something. I messed up a step. And our walker, our team sergeant said, "Hey, pure this mother effer last." And so, for those who don't know, if you get peered last twice in SUT at that time, they took you out of the course. So, buddy of mine, Mike, I won't tell you his last name, but Mike was a Bravo, and he pulled me in, and we just started doing sand tables and working all the steps, And I made it a point where I'm not going to be seen sleeping until I get this right. So we stayed up for like 2 days. Love the motivation.
Yeah, and then he said, "Well, you're good at a couple of things. One of them is carrying heavy stuff, because I was the big ogre in my team." So
it seems like such a backhanded compliment, but it is a valuable asset on a team.
So I was like, "Hey, I'm carrying a 240." So you carry the tripod, the aluminum and steel tripod. I'll carry the 240 and as much ammo as my ruck will carry. So I try to dig myself out of that hole by carrying the
That'll
pig.
do it. And that'll do it.
I didn't get peered last ever again.
Yeah.
So it worked out.
The innate ability of what we were talking about of anyone, there's a lot of high-performing individuals, but they have no business leading men. And phase 2 really weeds those guys out. SF is so driven as a team. ODAs are a team. You can't have 12 high performers that don't get along, 12 high performers that can't work as a team. And it really tests you as a leader. Do you have that innate ability to motivate other men to do what you need done? Do they respect you enough to follow you?
That's a great point. Yeah.
Do you have the social IQ to talk to them in a way that says, "Hey, I'm the boss, but I'm not a tyrannical ruler," you know.
And you got to have the foresight to, even though how you have differences with these guys, and you may have a grudge or two, you've got to completely wash that out and clean it up,
right?
To operate correctly and not let that be a distraction.
Yeah.
And you got to rise above a lot of issues. So it was a complete immersion into that. And I know they're really hard on our officers. We had 2 officers, 2 captains, and they were really hard on those guys. And so then we felt like we needed to help those guys out. So we're trying to pull their weight. But it was...
And everyone knows the guy who, like I said, you have to be a good follower and a good leader, because there's some guys that actually knew the job and probably would have been good leaders when it was their time to be a leader, but no one wanted to do anything they said, because when it was their time to be a follower, they were a problem. You know, oh, you fell asleep at your position when it was my turn to be leader.
Yeah.
And now you're the leader and you want to make sure everyone's awake. You weren't awake for me.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, those things, and you take away sleep, you take away food.
So you're eating the Folgers coffee packets.
I've seen guys take that little Tabasco sauce, put it on their finger and rub it in their eyes. Yeah. I've seen some crazy stuff for guys to try to stay awake, because it is a battle. You're not made to stay awake like that.
I did not dip very often to Copenhagen until I got into some of those nights.
I understand why people do. I do.
Yeah.
Here's another thing I don't think people understand as well. They do a good, don't get me wrong, coming from a different unit, having a background helps because this isn't the first time you've seen it. But they will teach you everything you need to know at every course you go to. Now, if it's your first time hearing about it, how fast can you pick it up and apply it? Do you feel like essentially being an 18 X-ray, because it's really what you ended up being, did you have a hard time with the drinking through the fire hose, or for the most part you were able to grasp it? And or did you need help with I think, and you kind of with phase 2 specifically, you already alluded to this, needed help from classmates to help you drink from that fire hose?
It was all the physical stuff came good to me. I was good for that. But the process, because I would tend to get like an adrenaline filled rush on target, and so I had to, I guess, learn how to process information better and be more in line with details.
Yeah.
I mean, that was probably my weakness, was being detail oriented, and they taught me, hey, if you want to just be like caveman Rusty Strong, it's not going to work out for you. Go to the infantry. They can use you. You can, but if you got to be a thinker to be at this level. So I had to study. I had to read the Ranger handbook. It wasn't just memorizing I had memorized the Ranger Creed. I thought I was going to rip.
Right.
So I had to turn and go beyond the first page and dive into that.
Right. Where'd you go next? What MOS did you get?
So I got 18 Echo.
What'd you think about that when you got assigned Echo? Did you care?
I was
wanting
to be a Bravo. I wanted to be a weapons guy.
I could have guessed that.
Yeah.
Based off of our conversation already.
So I mean, I've always been into firearms, but
yeah.
So I go to Echo, and then I start. We're always kind of hearing how things have been done 2 or 3 years ago, and I'm thinking we got to learn Morse code, and then the Morse code had been removed, and the first thing that we got into was cryptography. And a lot more studying than I thought I was going to get into when I got in the Army. I'd studied exercise physiology, cardiology classes, all this stuff. And I thought, well, the Army would be easy.
Right.
Now, combo school was difficult.
Oh.
It was very technical, and they would issue us equipment with stuff they knew was wrong with it.
Yeah.
Just to see if you could catch what was wrong. Like, this connection's broken, fix this.
Yeah.
It was an incredible course.
Yeah.
I mean, because they know that when you go overseas and you're bumping around in the night, you're going to have something go down. How are you going to fix it? So they did a tremendous job getting us ready for all that. But
antenna theory was a great class.
Yeah.
Understanding radio waves. Understanding the different types of antennas, sunspots,
ducting,
the F2 layers of the atmosphere.
Yeah,
people the being able to bounce a HF radio wave off the atmosphere at a low frequency, so it doesn't leave it, but it bounces off of it.
Yeah,
and another radio station,
the 148 or the 118.
Another radio station 500 miles will get it off your bounced signals. I mean, there's some really nerdy stuff you got to learn as a Special Forces combo guy.
It was fascinating. It took all that I had to do it right.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
And then, we'd PT for probably an hour and a half, 2 hours prior to every class. So that was legit.
The PT at the Echo course was legit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The max gain, also known as max pain.
Right.
There was a bunch of keepers of the tab at that level too.
I'll tell them what max gain is. It's one of the
max gain. So you get into small teams, and you're all 18 Echoes. You're all combo sergeants. So 6 to 8 of you, and we're moving through the woods. And we were shooting, because they used to take you to Fort Seal, Oklahoma, and you had to shoot back to Fort Bragg. But for whatever reason, we stayed in Fort Bragg and just went to the NTA, the Northern Training Area of Fort Bragg, and we had to do just big, long movements, 8, 10, 12, 15 kilometers, and then everybody had to do a shot, like one shot a day. or sometimes 2 shots a day, and you had to make a successful commo shot, whether it be shooting an email on your tough book to Fort Sill, or receiving a message at a certain time, and you had to do like 11 o'clock. So you're getting set up at 10:30, and you had to make your shot right on the minute. So it was tough. It was challenging, and then you're carrying 150 pounds, and you're not sleeping. So a lot of stress and inducing in that.
Robin Sage had an insanely heavy ruck, but I think the heaviest ruck that I can, if you ask me, I think would be the ruck I carried during Mac's game.
Same here.
An insane ruck. The type of ruck, the first time you pick it up, you go, no, this is.
So
we're not really carrying this.
we had the combo modification where they put the extra battery pouches on our ruck, so we get extra junk we were carrying. So we made our ruck bigger.
Yeah,
but carrying all the extra batteries, the hand crank, the thermal chargers that we carried, for it was a bunch of junk, holding your ruck together with 550 cord and duct tape.
That's right. Mac's game broke a lot of ruck frames.
Yeah, and then we had, after Mac's game, we did a short, like a refresher with the radios again, and did a computer class, and then it was off to Robin Sage. Or was it language school? Probably Robin Sage, then language school.
Yeah, I don't think you were pretty close to me. I know they've changed it a little bit since then, but I'd imagine it'd have been phase 3 to Robin Sage, language, and then SERE.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Yeah.
If you've ever been to any of my tactical training classes, then you know how adamant I am about the use of white light and the importance of a quality, high-powered tactical light. That's why I use cloud defensive tac lights. You can't hit what you can't see, and neither can the bad guys. Clearly identify your target and simultaneously overwhelm his vision with hundreds and even thousands of lumens. Get serious about defending yourself and your family. Go to clouddefensive.com and use promo code Tier1 to get 30% off your order. That's right, 30%. You won't find a better light than this, and you won't find a better deal than this.
So it was Robin Sage,
Pineland. How was your Robin Sage experience? Was it Robin Sage gets hyped up, and some teams have a better Robin Sage than they thought, and some teams have a good Robin Sage.
It was just a continual.
Depends on your lane.
It was just a continuation of what to expect when you get deployed, And there was we were supposed to jump into some place called Star Airport. We were going to jump into it, and the weather was so bad. We were in a Casa, small aircraft that the Army would contract, 12 of us, and we didn't jump. We landed, got out the back gate, and we had to do about a 15 kilometer movement, and we're meeting up with this guerrilla chief leader named Colonel Blaze was his name.
Okay.
And he was like the leader of the Pineland resistance,
Yep. So
we walked through the rain, and that's when I experienced my first cold casualty. I my lips were purple, and I started getting dizzy, and had to stop and change clothes and drink water and find some sunlight because the sun was coming up, and I was freezing. It was like April.
Yeah.
But we walked for so long, just soaking wet, and 48, 50 degrees, it wasn't even that cold, but I was just, I don't know. I was almost I almost had to drag my ass out of there, but we finally met up with Colonel Blaze, and this is one of the funniest stories I've ever seen. We go in this little school, it was like an old church school kind of a building. And he's being really formal. I am Colonel Blaze. Welcome to Pineland. You're going to help us with our resistance, the great soldiers of America and all this. And he's sitting around, and they offer us some stew.
Okay.
And it was like minestrone or something. I don't know. We're eating this stew. And he goes, I want to introduce you to my daughter. And he brings out this young lady, and she's wearing just like Carhartt shirt and jeans. And he's like, as our custom, if anybody makes eye contact with my daughter, you marry her. So they're getting us used to like different cultures and all this sort of stuff.
Right.
So we're sitting down in a circle, and he's talking about Pineland and, you know, where we're going to go next, and we're going to meet, you know, all his little plan. And, you know, we're going to absorb his force of like 100 men and train them and force multiply. And we're sitting there listening to a talk, and he has like a dry erase board and everything. And then I hear, "Father, I have been married." No. One of the guys on my team had made eye contact with her.
No.
Yeah. And he goes, "Congratulations, it's a wonderful day."
Oh.
And he stands up and he grabs him and grabs her. And
Yeah.
and they got to hold hands and everything. And we're like, just like, it's not funny. We're just like shocked, you know.
What are we gonna do?
So for the next 3 days, she just followed us around everywhere we went.
You know, it sounds silly, but what they're really doing, I mean, they have to force a situation on you,
Yeah.
and it really doesn't matter at what level in special operation you're at, from the beginning of it to the very top of it. There is one attribute that everyone has to have, and that's problem solving.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys have to get together and be like, how are we going to deal with this? And
We got to do an ambush
that's nothing
with
problem solving.
Colonel Blades' wife, or Colonel Blades' daughter, and Jesse's wife, his new wife.
Do you remember how you guys ended up getting out of that?
She just kind of faded. I think they wanted to hammer the point home of like respect cultures.
Right, yeah.
So after a couple of days, she left. But we had an infantry group was our guerrilla force, and they had just came back from an Afghanistan rotation.
Oh, really?
And they were like third ID. They were like
Okay.
legitimate guys.
Yeah.
Probably like 25 or 30 of them. And they weren't very excited about getting put on a
This detail.
detail,
Yeah.
you know. I think they had gotten like 2 or 3 weeks off, but here they are. And they all were, you know, they were carrying their M4s and their service rifles and everything. And they were just like, man, they were very blunt. Hey, we just got off a rotation for like a year, so this kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But we were out there for three or 4 weeks out in the woods, taking them on raids, ambushes, you know, whatever. And it was, we had to teach them classes. And actually, we did teach them some things they didn't know, which was kind of cool about.
It goes back to what we just said, whether it's phase 2 or phase 4. And this is a little bit more real world within the training environment, because you really have people that you have to motivate. And it's just funny. As great as Robin Sage was, I felt like some things were forced and a little cheesy. I'm saying, the longer I was in SF, the more I was like, you know what? Robin Sage was absolutely right. Guess what? Your partner force in Afghanistan isn't going to be very motivated either.
No, they won't.
Or Iraq, wherever you go, they're not going to be as motivated as you.
No,
and now
not
you
at
have to
all.
take these men, just what I talked about in phase 2 with your peers. Now you have to do it to another partner force. How do you motivate men to do what you need them to do and respect you?
Yeah.
It's
See,
tough.
I hadn't been on a rotation yet, and all these guys had come back from one, and they had CIB. So they're looking down their nose at you a little bit like, okay, SF guy, you know.
Yeah.
So the respect thing is really a challenge.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it was, and it'd be the same exact way if you go to Afghanistan or Iraq, because they're going to have been fighting, you know.
Right.
So
You got to pull them in. Listen, buddy, my Green Beret's on the line. Don't screw this up.
yeah. When we get back out of here, I'll pay you.
Right. What does it take? What does it take?
No, but
I've been way too deep at this point. I can't fail now.
no, but you know, we had to kind of like at SUT, you had to lead 3 or 4, you know, major movements and graduate from that. And it wasn't a very formal thing to graduate from that. And then we kept having these training holds. It's 2 years and 2 months in the Q course, and you would get out of one class and have to wait 3 weeks. So we got out of Sage, and it was about a 3 or 4 week wait till Russian, and then that was one of the longest languages. I think Mandarin, Arabic, and then Russian are your 3 long ones. So
I had good experience with my training holds. They weren't. Some guys had bad experiences where they were in formations a lot because they wanted, their instructors wanted to make sure nothing bad happened. But
I had a good one.
I had a good one, and some of my best times for those training holds.
Yeah.
No.
Because you could go out, you could live,
Yeah.
be like a real person, but then you had you had 2 hours of PT you had to get look forward to in the morning, and we were rolling with. We had to do some jujitsu stuff, and it was good. Master Sergeant Wynn,
Yeah.
he lost his life in Iraq.
Yeah.
He was the Army's best shooter, like 3-gun competition. He was but he was our NCOIC
Yeah.
for most of my time.
Oh, I remember now. I remember while my training hold time was pretty easy. Our NCOIC said if you have a 300 PT test score or above, I won't make you come in and do PT. And you want to talk? I always had a 300 and above PT score anyway. But you want to talk about extra motivation?
Hell yeah!
That'll motivate you.
Did you go to the World's Gym in Fayetteville? There was that big World's Gym there I used to go to.
Is it right around the corner from on the side of a by Hooters in that little parking lot?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I
forgot
went
it was
there
a World's
all the
Gym.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was there, and then it was the Hooters and Wings, and
Did you end up recycling anything in the Q course you go straight through?
never did
I know.
recycle, but it was just a long.
Right. It's long enough going straight through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd heard horror stories that recycle, and I could not imagine having to do this again. So,
Yeah.
all the things that guys can do wrong, the DUIs or just failing a test, we were always. And me and my roommates, I had 4 roommates plus me. We had this big rent house, and we all motivated each other pretty good. We didn't have any really weak links, and we were all guys. Like one was a SMU law school grad who did triathlons, so he was highly motivated. We were all older guys. I was the oldest, but we're all older guys. So
Right.
we all knew that at our age we had to stay in really good shape.
And I don't think that changes from Q course to Q course. Let me tell you what made me successful in the Q course, and it made me successful in OTC. It's just a natural thing that kind of happens. I don't think you can force it, but good guys hang around good guys. High performers find other high performers, and they make each other better, and they drive each other. And it sounds like you ended up with a similar group of guys that you can depend on them, and they were going to make you better just by being around them.
We called ourselves the Highwaymen.
Oh, yeah.
That song by the Highwaymen with Johnny Cash and Waylon and Willie and Chris Christopherson.
Yeah. And I tell people all the time, show me who your friends are, and I'll show you who you are. And that is so true.
So one of our guys in our circle was Josh Townsend, who lost his life in Afghanistan. But Josh was one of those hot shots that jumped into. He worked for the Forestry Service in California and was a mountain firefighter.
Okay.
And the best rucker I've ever seen, because he was used to carrying like 2 chainsaws and 10 gallons of gas and water, and
Yeah.
I mean he was a pack mule. And he was a tremendous guy to have around. He was crazy. I mean, he would drink a bottle of Jameson and then wake up and sleep on our floor, get up and go to PT and like lead the run. And he was one of those guys that could just do that,
Yeah.
fall down a flight of stairs and land on his feet and go, hey, okay, what we got? So, but he was a rare breed who could actually abuse his body but still be a high performer.
Yeah. There's a few of those guys who are they're just amazing. Did you have a favorite phase or training portion of the Q course that stands out? And you're like, you know what, that was special.
During Russian, me and a friend of mine named Mark, we both shared that Russian school, and we could see the end of the course coming, down the road, and we felt really confident what we were doing, and we were just the pressure felt like it had been off a little bit. We weren't like the doom setting you have in SUTs and all that was, but I just felt like I had accomplished a lot, and I felt highly motivated. And that was a time I enjoyed. I was staying in good shape, and I thought I had a really good plan ahead of me, but the echoes, there's a lot of echoes in my language school we stayed in touch with, and we were all a tight group of guys. And we would go do, there was a sports bar in Fayetteville that had a karaoke every Thursday night. And we would go like every Thursday night, but the rule was you had to sing a song by a female.
I love it.
You couldn't sing a song by a guy. So there was a little Polish guy. He's one of the funniest guys I've ever known in my life, named Wojo. It's short for, if you know Wojo, you know. But he gets up there and he, with the utmost confidence, belts out, "Man, I feel like a woman" by Shania Twain.
That's a bold
and it
maneuver.
was just, I never have laughed so hard in my life. But I mean, the Husk Hardware, we go to Husk Hardware.
Yeah.
And then the sports bar karaoke nights. And that was probably the most enjoyable because we really, the self-preservation thing had kind of gone behind us, and we were starting to make real relationships.
Yeah.
Because early on, all you care about is surviving.
Right.
Can I get through this? If he didn't, okay, but at least I did.
Right.
But then we were starting to form the real cohesion,
Yep.
And then off to SERE school we went, and then that further, ingrained the bond between a lot of us.
Yeah. SERE school is one of the few schools, and I don't want to say the Q course disappointed me. That's not the word I want to use. Part of it was what I hyped it up. The Q course is exactly what it should be. When you graduate the Q course, you are the master of the basics, but just that, the basics. You're not coming out Rambo. You're not coming out a sniper.
You're not shooting just a whole lot.
You're not shooting a whole lot. You don't really know how to clear houses. You don't, unless you're a Charlie, you don't really work with demolitions. You're going to get that. Just hold on. You're going to get that within a few years. You'll get all of that, when you get to your team. So I just thought there'd be more advanced things, but that's my fault for not knowing the process. But SERE school absolutely met my expectations of what I thought SERE school was going to be.
Yeah, mine too. I think about it every day, what their goal was and how they accomplished it, to make you really self-aware and to make you know what buttons they can push and to get to know thyself really well.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. I really think just because of the conditions that they put you in, the unique conditions they put you in, I thought I knew who I was, but SERE school really shows you who you really are.
Exactly, yeah.
It does. It was a very cool experience.
And
When you got... Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. I said I won't spoil it for anybody, but there's some surprises.
It's full of surprises.
I would do it again. I wish I had done it at a little bit younger age, but the level of training that the instructors had undergone to put you in those situations, it was pretty fascinating. And great actors. I mean, those guys could go to Hollywood and tear it up.
Oh, they did. I mean, they sent it. They did.
Yeah.
They were
They
all
were
about the role. They were all in.
My only story is they put us in a room about the size of this room right here with probably 50 guys. And it's this December, and they sprayed us down with a water hose.
Yeah.
They gave us one blanket. Hey, use this blanket, stay warm. And we're like huddling up and giving it away. And then one of the guys had been interrogated, and they drug him in front of our door, and they threw him down on the ground. He was not wearing any clothes. In his wet bag were his hospital scrubs, totally naked, laying in front of our door. Me and one of my friends I keep in touch with, Mike, you know who you are. We open a door, we go out there. You couldn't make eye contact with your captors. Remember that? You had to walk around with your head down.
Right.
And I walked to this guy, and he's huddled up naked. I was going to grab him and drag him in, and I hear, "Where you go? Who you are? What you do?" You know.
Right.
And I hear and I see Mike fall down right next to me. Well, when he fell down, I looked and I caught eyes with the guy, and he goes, and this dude he was definitely on the program. He was jacked. And he waves his finger at me, and he rears back, and I close my eyes, and he just palm drove me right in the jawbone.
Yeah.
And it gave me a concussion.
Yeah.
And we got the guy back in, and I had gravel in my mouth from landing in the gravel. So that experience trying to remember how to navigate the course with a concussion was pretty tough.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
That'll add an extra degree of difficulty when you need all your wits about you.
And your ears are going, beep.
Yeah. So you had Russian, so you knew you were going to 10th group. That's why that's why you got Russian.
I got Russian.
When you show up to 10th group, how was that experience? And how was the experience meeting your first team for the first time?
Well, it took me a while to meet my team. I showed up and I was just, have all these expectations of going to a team, Well, I go and the sergeant major said, "Hey, we thought you were going to be here last week, and I was going to put you in 2nd Battalion, and you guys are getting ready to go like in 2 months to rotation, but you didn't show up in time, so I backfilled a guy out of commo hold, and I put him in your spot, so you got to go to commo hold."
Oh, what a gut punch.
So I enlisted from 9/11 was my motivation. I was injured. So now we're talking 2006. I show up to 10th group. This is 5 years after the fact.
Yeah.
And then I go to 3rd Battalion, and they had just came back from rotation. So I knew I was going to wait another year or so. But I did commo hold. I hosted I was in charge of running a Soldier of the Year competition. I taught land nav to Soldier of the Year guys. I taught land nav to guys just getting back out of the course. And I was like, I got to get out of here. And I finally contacted Master Sergeant Terry. He was finishing up his time as an instructor, and he told me to go see Ron Hall in 3rd Battalion, Charlie Company. And Ron called me, brought me in, and said, "Hey, you're going to be the senior. The senior's going to Ranger School, and he's going to go to ANOC, probably Advanced Non-Commissioned Officer School. So you're going to be the senior Echo first day." So there I was, and
talk about a pendulum swing.
Yeah. So I got what I wanted,
Right. Careful what you
and
ask
Ron, I'm not going to say he had it in for X-rays, but he had taken a long way around the world to be in Special Forces. 18 years old, he's 82nd Airborne, had done all the schools. And he and I were very close to the same age. And he's like, "Go count radios, do inventories." So he's like, "Look around." He goes, "Read the room." Remember, I recall, these are old conversations, but I know what he said. He said, "Read the room." They just got back from rotation. They'd lost their team sergeant, Kelly Hornbeck. There'd been a couple of tragic circumstances on that team, and he was like, "We're not in the mood for any new guy bullshit. So just don't ask questions. Just go do your job." So being at the age, I'm 34, you think you're hot shit. You show up to your team, and it's just a further exercise in humility.
Right.
Do your inventories, go up, make a comm shot, test your stuff, and every day we'd go to the YMCA and swim, and we're getting ready for our 2,000 meter open water swim. So it was amazing. We had to show up at 5 a.m. and 2.5 hours of PT, and you're trying to really, because now you're getting retested. Everybody's staring at you. Hey, can this guy, can he carry his weight?
Yep.
So
got to prove yourself all over again.
You never prove yourself.
Yeah.
You never do. I was talking to one of the Adazio a couple of days ago, And he's talking about, I hear you're a tough guy. And I'm like, well, you're not tough. You only can exhibit it on a daily basis.
Right.
Nobody owns it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, so it was just a very humbling time, for me. And so roughly a year of, cephalics and doing all these, really cool train ups. We went to Phoenix, Arizona, and worked with the Phoenix SWAT. And we blew up some old apartment buildings and did CQB, just room by room, blowing holes through drywall, going in. It was fun. And
Yeah, because now you're doing real special forces stuff.
Yeah, and then we get sent to Iraq and the Battle of Bakuba, Diyala Province, and it was an interesting time, man. It was just very vivid. It was, even though it's been a long time ago, I can remember almost every day in sequence. You know?
Yeah, Bakuba, it's I don't think it got a lot of media attention like certain hot spots, and rightfully so. I mean, at the end of the day, it was no Fallujah, it was no Ramadi, Sadr City, those big ones. But make no mistake about it, any SF guy that went through Iraq, especially that time, knows about
there were some notable losses of life in Bakuba.
It was a action-packed area to be operating in, and we all knew it. We all knew it because we could hear the SATCOM, reports come over, troops in contact again, or get a report of another guy injured in that area or a loss of life in that area. So we knew that was a hot spot. A lot of medals got handed out there as well for guys doing what Green Berets do.
I was sent. We landed in Balad. We had to go to Spain, wait for a bird for a couple of days, and then we went from Spain to Balad. And we landed in Balad, and there was a mortar alarm going off, and all the Air Force guys were scurrying into their little tunnels, and we're offloading our equipment. And I knew I was going to be on an ADVON team where me and our captain and our warrant were going to fly into our FOB Camp Alamo at FOB Gabe. We had a separate compound attached to FOB Gabe, and we knew we were going to fly in for like 3 or 4 days ahead of our team. So I had to do a commo switchover and all that. Yep. So we jumped into a Black Hawk, and it was a 160 bird, and the guy gave us a little pre-mission brief. Hey, we're going to be 80 feet AGL, blah, blah, blah. We're going to go in, and if something happens to the bird, we're going to try to go here and there and whatever. And at this time, we're like a warning, and mortars are going off around us and everything. We had to go into a tent and pack our mags and put our frags on and everything. I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah. Welcome to the show.
Getting to the Black Hawk and then flying 80 feet off the ground, and we land into this compound at FOB Gabe, and this senior Charlie had his long beard. He's like, about time you mother effers showed up. Because they had been there for like a legitimate year, and they were sick of it. They were sick of it. And so we show up, and I meet their senior commo guy, and he had been an instructor in the Q course. And he vaguely recognized me. He'd seen dozens, but long story short, he's like, hey, we're doing a crypto change tonight. We're going to roll out tomorrow at 6 to do a route familiarization tour. It's like 2 a.m. He goes, I want you to replug in the crypto for all 5 gun trucks. And that's SATCOM, that's, every radio that we had.
Right.
And off I go. So, radio check, shooting to FOB Warhorse for our SATCOM and back and forth, and it took about 4 hours.
Right.
We stand around and we do our comm check, and then you know, we did a little route tour on a map. They had this big ass map of Bakuba, and the outgoing team sergeant, he was actually their warrant, but the team sergeant had gotten shot, so he was the acting team sergeant, and he was like, "Hey, you know, here's the Mufrik Circle is the most heavily trafficked area with the most IEDs in our entire, you know, battle space, and this is Route Orange, Route Purple, Route Vanessa, all this. We're gonna go down Vanessa and expect sniper fire, blah blah blah." And there was an area to our east that was just farmland, and it was just wide open. And he goes, "Your IED threat's not so significant here because you can kind of see better, and there's less areas to get ambushed." We drive to the edge of the FOB Gabe, and there's a Russian LMT, or what do they call them, the personnel carriers, and it was our acting gate, and we had some Iraqis driving it. And they back up. We get to the gate, and the outgoing team sergeant radios. I'm sitting in like truck 2 behind the driver, and he goes, "All right, hey Captain, if we hang a left, it's Black Hawk Down. If we hang a right, it's Little House on the Prairie. What do you want to see?" And our captain goes, "F it, let's go see Black Hawk Down." So we hang a left, and the gunner was a senior Bravo, and he kicks me in the leg, and he goes, "Hey, mother effer, you're going to get your CIB in about 5 minutes." And they're all very casual about it, you know.
Right.
My captain's in truck 1, the warrant acting team sergeant's right in front of me. He's TC, and he has an Ozarka bottle he's spitting his tobacco, his Copenhagen in. And he's as cool as a cucumber. We go to Mufrik Circle, and we start getting shot at, and then the gunners starts hitting 50 cal rounds, you know, sending them in. It's like clacking inside the noise, you know. And I'm like, shit, you know. I'm wearing an Air Force boom mic with my left ear is exposed. Just clack, 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 clack. And then we come around the circle, and it was early in the morning, but there were kids playing soccer, I guess to beat the heat. And there was a big collection of kids playing soccer, and I'm looking, and they had piled up rocks to be their goal, the soccer goal. Well, the crowd starts partying, and there was a guy with a PKM, or an RPD, the older version, older belt fed, comes walking out in the middle wearing an Adidas tracksuit. And I was like, this doesn't look right. And I went, hey, left, hey. He goes, I see him. And then I just start seeing red tracer. And I guess the guy thought we wouldn't shoot it because the kids were there.
Right, yeah.
But the kids all split.
Scattered, yeah.
And that's the first time I've seen a human get pulverized by 5 50 cal machine guns. So that was within my first 5 hours of being in Iraq.
He said, well, welcome to war.
But
yeah.
I mean, I'm going to yield my war stories to you, but
you waited long enough for it.
But to watch that happen, to hear the rounds getting sent, seeing this stuff flying off this guy, because he tried to run, but a round went through his right shoulder, and his whole torso turned where I could see his chest, but his legs were going the other way.
Right. The human body is some weird stuff, especially with 50 cal.
Yeah, when you see somebody contort like that, and then the guy, the acting team sergeant, he goes, good kill, keep killing him. And he's like spitting in his... It was a vivid experience.
Yeah. After a year, that's just another day at work for those boys.
Yeah, they've been there before. You know?
Yeah.
And what's the first rule of SF?
Look cool.
And so I was feeling like my heart rate was pounding against my body armor. I was like, whew. I said, I gotta look cool. I gotta look cool.
Man, of course, you've really had, two careers, really, 2 lifetimes, because even though you started late in the military, I mean, we could go another hour with probably just the rest of that deployment.
Let me be clear that I did not serve very long. And that's where the 4-year contract came in, because when I was about to graduate the Q course, I got called in and said, hey, you only have 9 months left on your contract. So you can work in the office as a tabbed soldier for 9 months, or you can do a 2-year extension.
Yeah.
And so I did a 2-year extension. So I did basically 3 years team time, and then I got into my second rotation in Iraq, and I got sent home early.
Yeah.
So I didn't even do a full second rotation.
But you packed in a career's worth of work for. I mean, if you think of 80s and 90s, you know, some other guys never got to do any of that. And like I said, you made the most of the time that you were there. What was it that made you not re-enlist? Did you feel like you checked the block of what you intended to come in and do?
Well, you look at the atmosphere of SF at that time, and it was go over, come back, go over, come back. And I felt like we were so well trained to actually get the job done. Mm-hmm. And I was married, and I wanted to get back into. I knew I wanted to get back into coaching. Okay. I wasn't planning on making SF my career, and I got into an organization that most of the guys do, make a career out of it. But when I enlisted with the 4-year deal, my expectation was to get out and get back into coaching. Turned into a little bit longer.
Right.
But when my time was coming up, I was just like, I'd kind of wanted to get back into coaching. I started seeing the writing on the wall. Like, I'm 37, 38 years old. My body's starting to feel it. It's a very young man's game. Am I going to go 20 more years and be 57? And where am I going to be? Am I going to be on a B team? Where am I going to be doing? What's my role going to be beyond 40 in SF?
Yeah.
So, they're not going to send me to selection, right, at the age of 37.
Right.
So I kind of was like, well, I need the best avenue for me to have is get my career going as a coach.
Okay.
So I got out. My enlistment ran out. I got out, and then.
Do you feel like that was a detriment to you taking that 4 or 5 year break away from coaching?
Oh, definitely. It set me back, and not that I regret it at all, but it set me back 10 years in my coaching profession. Because you look at, I was at Sam Houston State. Who was coaching there at the time was a guy named David Bailiff. I'd made great connections with David Bailiff. He was the head coach at Rice, Texas State. He's still at Texas State. There's a lot of really good coaches that were there that are in Division I level. Mm-hmm. And I had these connections that I left for 6 years. Yeah. And trying to think of the names of some of these guys. It's escaping me, but there's a lot of coaches that wanted me to come back and work with them. And I wanted to exploit that while I was still relevant in their mind. Tom Herman, thank you. Tom Herman was an offensive coordinator kind of guy at Sam Houston State. He went on to be the head coach for Texas Longhorns. And he was at Iowa State as an offensive coordinator. He was offensive coordinator for Urban Meyer at Ohio State. So I wanted to get back on that radar of these guys. So that's why it kind of motivated me to get out early and not re-enlist. So I got a job at Rice University, my very first job, working with David Bailiff.
How'd that go, getting that first opportunity? Is there anything you had to do, or just go around just putting your application in everywhere, seeing who'd take a chance on you?
It was not really applications. It was just word of mouth. Okay. And trying to reconnect with a bunch of guys that I'd known.
Very relationship driven.
Yeah, it's all about networking and all that. So no coach is going to hire you if he doesn't know you or know a guy who knows you really well. Yeah. And I had met David Bailiff, the head coach at Rice at the time. When I graduated the Q course, Tom and Herman invited me to go speak to the football team. So I hadn't been deployed yet, but I went and talked to this team, and he was really intrigued. So he said, stay in touch, when you get out. I was at Fort Fort Carson, we were doing some training. I was talking to an F-16 pilot, and he was dropping dummy bombs on this like big collection of trucks they had out there. And my cell phone rings, my old Nokia, brick that we had.
Yeah.
I pull it out, and it's like, Tom Herman. Hey, Tom. Rusty, what are you doing? I said, I'm dropping bombs. What are you doing? He's like, well, I just want to know when you're going to get out. I need a strength coach. And I was like, about 2 more years? I thought you were going to go for 4. Yeah. Well, all right, we'll stay in touch. And that kind of planted a seed.
Yeah.
And but I made incredible friends. I got tremendous respect. And like I said, if I was a younger man, I wish I'd have done it 10 years prior,
Right. But yeah, God has a plan, and you.
Yeah, I got a taste of it,
Yeah,
I got a taste of it.
How many different organizations have you been a part of post military?
Okay, so I got out of the Army. I got a job at Rice, and then I got the next head job at UL Lafayette, and then I went from UL Lafayette to Texas Tech. We lasted 3 years at Texas Tech, and we got fired. Really got close to pushing the bus over the hill there, and we got let go. And then it was a major undertaking, that program out there, to get it going. And then I went to Army West Point to Troy. And then we got the head coach at Troy got let go after my second year, and I thought, well, I'm done again. I got to look for another job.
Right.
And that's when I met Coach Summerall, and he came in, and he already had somebody in mind he wanted to bring with him, and I was an afterthought. Mm-hmm. But some of the players really went to bat for me, and he's like, okay, I'll listen to this guy. He gave me 20 minutes to interview, and I said, the best ability is availability. And then he's like, okay, well, tell me more. And so I went to my year program with him, and he was like, 20 minutes turned into 2 hours.
Okay.
And then he's like, I guess we can make this work. So we had the best season in the history of the school. 12-2, won the Cure Bowl, won the conference, ranked number 19. Maybe that was 23, but 22 and 23 were very successful times for Troy. Mm-hmm. Ranked for like the first time ever, and he took me to Tulane with him.
Yep.
We had success, a lot of success. The 25 season.
Yeah, you guys went to the college playoffs.
Yep, the CFP, and
this is an amazing feat for that program.
Yeah, we really got. I feel like we really got a lot out of that program. The players that we brought in. To the credit of all the coaches, they assembled just a really unique team, and we had to get a quarterback last minute to come in from BYU and just piecemeal the team together, and we beat a Big Ten team. We beat the ACC championship team, Duke. We were scrappy,
Yeah.
Ole Miss had their way with us. There's a different level, but they beat us twice last year, Ole Miss did. But it was a great experience for everybody involved to see that level of competition. And when we got on that field versus Ole Miss, you could just feel, hey, this is another level you better get ready for, And I think it was an eye-opener to a lot of people.
Yeah.
To be at not just, I've played against many, SEC teams, and I've coached in at a Big 12 team, but a playoff game in front of a sellout crowd with the expectations that we had versus theirs, it was an eye-opening experience. It was great for everybody.
When did the rumors start going around that that Summerall was going to be Florida's pick? Did you know that fairly early on, or
I did not have an idea.
Yeah.
I did not ask.
Right.
I just wanted to keep my head down and do my job. You can't be found guilty of peeking over the fence when you're still playing games. So I wanted to keep our football team dialed in. I did not ask. I just let him, I just kept my faith in the day-to-day process. And one morning we're working out together, and he goes, "Hey, it's Florida." And I went, "Whoa."
Yeah.
That was like, holy crap, that's real.
It's one of those things, especially asking what are all the organizations been a part of. It's and we'll just fast forward with good assumptions that hard work at a good program pays off, and let's say Florida's doing great over the next couple of years, and people will look at you and they're like, well, yeah, he's at Florida, and they just assume you're a big name at a big place. You're the guy. You're the head strength and conditioning coach, and that you had it fairly easy. Just I don't know why people do. People just assume people succeeded, and it was just naturally good for them. Maybe because it makes them feel better that that's why they didn't succeed because he got it on easy street. And then you hear this story. I went to this college for a few years, got let go. I went to this college for a few years.
I started a Division II school, sleeping in my office on a Pakistan mattress. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't, they don't know what guys went through. Sure, there's always an outlier. Maybe there's someone, who made it big on easy street. But that is not the norm. Guys bust their ass for years. And then you don't even get to hear about the amount of guys that busted their ass for years, did everything right, and still didn't get their big break.
Didn't work out for them,
yeah.
Yeah. Catching the lightning in the bottle of getting with a head coach that's successful enough to keep matriculating up the ladder, it's a tough gig.
Yeah.
And there's not very many strength coaches in my profession who have latched onto that guy and being able to hold on to it,
Yeah. Especially
it's like a bucking bull,
Especially in this culture of college football these days, that it's win now. Mm-hmm. No patience to develop a program, win now or leave. So, even with the when I say the success of being part of a major iconic Florida football organization, every year it is kind of like being a Tier 1 organization. Every day I had to show up and earn my spot. Like it is nothing is guaranteed to you, even though some people are going to look and say you made it.
Yeah.
But now you got to go out there and prove it.
I think the cool thing about our staff is that everybody has taken the hard road to get there. Coach Summerall, played in high school football in around Huntsville, Alabama. Went to Kentucky, played linebacker at a very physical level in a very physical conference, and got some neck injury issues. Just from battering, he led this team in tackles a year prior, so he'd been through it, Yeah. But he's in his 20th year. And he started at the University of San Diego non-scholarship college. So he played in the SEC, got beat up, and then started at the non-scholarship level, having to recruit and coach with no budget, not making any money. And he had to work himself from that level to where he's at. So the intensity that he has, the attention to detail, the urgency, he and I see a lot. We have a lot in common with that.
Yeah.
I'm in my 32nd year, and I've either been a college football player, a coach, a soldier, or a coach, and that's been my entire career.
Right.
And so there's always expect a game day. Always train for a game day. And the game day when we were serving was, hey, we've got this objective, this mission. So I've always been mission oriented, and I always tell our team, same mindset, different mission.
Yeah. There's a college football just in general. There's a lot of rivalry, and that's why we love college football, especially within the SEC. There's a lot of rivalry. But I've always, and I think most people do. You can take the Florida State rivalry. Most level-headed Florida Gator fans respected Bobby Bowden because of the way he ran that program, the type of man he was. I was very tired of getting beat by Alabama, and to some degree, watching them win over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But you know what? I was always a fan of Nick Saban because of the way he carried himself and the culture of which he had there at Alabama. And I know good culture when I see it. I've worked at the highest levels of the military, and culture is it. When I go talk to SWAT teams and I go talk to business, anyone I talk to, usually culture. If I'm not talking to them as an organization, I'm talking to their leadership about culture because it's so important. And when you allowed me to come over there and kind of see behind the curtain and see your guys' day-to-day operation and who's running what, it absolutely stood out to me that the foundation of a good culture is here at the University of Florida. And people are there's gonna be plenty of non-Gator fans that are gonna hate on the University of Florida. And I said, that's the fun of college football.
Yeah.
But when you build a team and you build a team the right way and you win the right way, college football still respects that.
I mean, I can't guarantee records. I just know that when you talk about that culture, that word, it's not win the day, it's win the next minute, because you can lose it in 5 minutes if you let one detail slide. And I think that's something that many coaches can overlook is, hey, we had a good day. Well, these 3 guys didn't.
Yeah.
And they're going to influence 2 more guys. So it's a minute by minute. And that's something that I think that I'm kind of built for, is to sustain and hold the line on that. You know, we have a rule, no headphones in the building. We want you to interact with your teammates, interact with staff, and hold the door. If you got your headphones on, you can't hear somebody walking up behind you when you open up a door.
Yeah.
You know, you can't interact. So we have little rules that you have to enforce, and I see the detail, and that comes from, you know, the SF mindset. So
yeah.
But the details that go into the day-to-day operation, my staff knows me. They know what I'm going to say before I even say it. If I see something that's off, that's when you came in and you made the Gators up. I was like, you know, that's something I used to do, and I've let that slide. So you checked me on that. We're going to be Gators up on our plates.
The smallest of details, that everything matters.
But it's a minute by minute standard that you have to, and it can be exhausting, but you have to get 120 players or 116 players that we have to buy into it. It is a day by day, minute by minute operation.
Yeah. When you came to the University of Florida, and again, if no one's been there before, I don't just say this as a Gator fan. I've been to stadiums across this country. I've been behind the scenes at several NFL teams, and I've seen organizations at a high level. And I'm telling you, unless you've been to a game in the Swamp, there's few things that come close to that. But when I showed up to the facility, that facility was better than the New England Patriots facility that I showed up to just a few years ago.
They don't have to recruit.
That is right. I mean, that facility was just top of the line, amazing. What was the first thing that stood out to you when you show up there to the organization? You're like, wow, I'm at a different level of college football.
Well, you drive
here.
by the stadium and you can just hear the echoes of the sounds of that, you know, and you're at the Swamp, you know, and the football operations center has been built like 4 years ago. So it very new, extremely high ceilings, just cavernous size, huge building, and, 15,000 square foot weight room, cardio mezzanine, indoor attached to it. And you're just like, I got what I need. I have what I need, you know.
The resources are here.
The resources are here.
Yeah.
It is big time, get it done.
Yeah.
You know, there was some issues with the equipment that I wanted to resolve, Buster Faulkner, he goes, well, can you get it done as it is? Because you don't get Sorinex overnight. You don't get your flooring redone overnight. It was about a 12-week process. And he goes, can you get it done as it is? And when he looked at me, I could tell he was like, we really need you to make this stuff happen. I was like, Coach, we'll get it done.
Yeah.
We'll get it done. And you feel the urgency from everybody, and you understand, hey, this place is used to winning. They got national championship numbers on the wall with space for more.
You're right.
And, the expectations are really, really exceptional here. And
do you feel the weight of it? The weight of the urgency for Florida to win again?
I do, and I embrace it because it means that I'm someplace that matters.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. I want to feel, and I told one of my first press conferences, I'm like, if we're getting beat up, it's my fault. I want that responsibility. If our O-line is getting thrown out of the club, it's my fault.
Yeah.
So I embrace that responsibility. We're going to play the biggest, most powerful football teams in the world.
He will.
Yeah. So it's just everything I've been training for my entire life. You're up against the wall. So your resiliency is going to be tested, and there's a lot of mental factors that I know that I can help with our team to install.
Yeah. Well, I love that because you have a unique background to where you know a little thing about pressure, a little thing about urgency, a little that's SF as I'm not saying you didn't have it before SF, but I'm sure to some degree it has to. It's really molded you to know what you're capable of and know that you can perform under pressure, and that type of success carries over with you to every aspect of your life. Or can, because you've proven it.
The attention to detail that we were taught, and we were put in so many situations where you were destined to fail,
right?
In our training scenarios, and even to some extent when your primary plan goes out the window, and then you got, like, I teach my players the PACE plan. What is our primary plan to get up and be on time in the morning? What's your alternate? What's your contingency? What's your emergency?
That's right.
But I learned a lot about attention to detail and urgency and preparedness, and being physically fit to do your job, and
well, I love it because a lot of these guys, let's just be honest, and they all have goals, but the reality is a lot of these guys aren't going to go to the NFL. And you get a chance in a way like no other, to some degree, not even their parents at this stage in their life, to mold young men. I mean, that's got to be a part of your job that's special as well.
Well, a challenge of that is when they're 18, 17, 18, 19, and then you get some older guys who are in their 20s. Their dietary habits have been set. Their sleep habits. Their what they do when they're under their downtime. Yeah. Their habits have been kind of formed. So you've got to really get their attention.
Yeah.
To make a change here or there, and it is the challenge of a lifetime to get when you get 54 brand new guys in, and then the other 55 don't know who you are.
Yeah.
And there's this huge hodgepodge of mixture, and you got to sell yourself, sell your program. I mean, you've got to really have all your ducks in a row to get that done.
It goes all the way back to what we talked about in phase 2 in Robin Sage.
Yeah.
Is how do you, as a leader, motivate people to do what you want to do, and in a certain way.
Align their goals.
To where they respect you, they will do it. Not just they will do it out of just force compliance. That you lead men in a way where they want to do it. They want to follow you, and those are lessons that you're learning in the Q course and in combat on an SFODA, all the way to where you're at now as a strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah, and going back to when I show up to the team, and Ron's my team starter. Is like, I don't care what your degrees have been in and what you've done in the past. You got to be a highly functioning senior echo.
Yeah.
And you feel that weight of that because you're like, the only thing that's at stake here is the lives of our team. Is that important to you?
Right. Yeah. Well, we already talked about the extreme rivalry of college sports again, which I love. It's what makes it so emotional and so fun to watch. But I hope after hearing your story that we get a few more Florida Gator fans rooting for a former Green Beret out here trying to restore the greatness of University of Florida. I mean, what a great story.
I'm excited, and I have confidence in our plan, and it's going to be a big adventure.
One way or another, it's going to be a big adventure.
And let me talk about what I think that Coach Summerall can bring. And you look at last season and a 4-8 football team with a lot of really good players and a lot of really good coaches. And like we talked in the pre-meeting today, you lose 2 games by 1 possession. You lose 2 other games by 10 points or less. And you have 524 combined penalty yards in the entire season. How many games were lost in those 524 penalty yards?
Right.
And everybody gets them,
Right.
Indiana got penalty yards, but the attention to detail that Coach Summerall can bring, and I'm going to support him with, will close those gaps. And I'm not guaranteeing, we're going to win this, we're going to beat these guys, but we're going to put a product on the field that is very aware.
Yeah, and you guys are definitely listening to the Florida base, because I think that's what they've wanted for years now. There's just been an obvious lack of attention to detail, a lack of accountability, and everything you guys are saying is addressing all of that. And I'm looking forward to this season, and I'm looking forward to the success of the program.
Absolutely.
You guys we're definitely going forward in the right direction. That I know. To me, the only question is how long will it take to get there, because we're heading in the right direction.
Well, I talked to Urban Meyer several weeks ago.
Never heard of him.
And he pulled out a imaginary hourglass, and he goes, "Boonk," and he's like, "The stand is falling, my friend."
Yeah. Yeah, you guys are getting pressure from every angle. Former coaches, former players.
He can dish it out because he lived it and breathed it.
That he did. Well, I tell you what. Last and final question. The way we always do it. Tell me a funny story. Can be anywhere from coaching to college football to Q course to combat.
A funny story. Well, let me. I got one. So I show up. I interview for the University of Texas job. Don't know if I'm going to get it. I drive back. The next day, my little lights flashing on my recorder answering machine, and it's Rock. Hey, we decided to bring you down. Can you start this day? Mm-hmm. So I'm so excited, and I drive down there, and I park, and I'm so excited to get inside the building. I go meet Rock. He goes, "Hey, go to the equipment room and pick up your gear." I already told him what size I wore and all that. So I pick up, this is how far it was back. It was Reebok.
Okay.
Reebok was in the NFL then, and I had Reebok shoes, three pairs of shoes, a big stack of burnt orange clothes, and I was literally like just so excited. I was like, "Is this real?" I grew up in the shadows of, Eric Metcalf and all these great Longhorns, and so I'm so excited. And I got this big pile, and I go into this little locker room, and I change into my brand new Texas strength shirt, burnt orange, some black shorts, my brand new Reebok shoes, and Reebok socks. And I'm so fired up. And I walk out into the weight room, and I got this big Bevo, the big steer's head on the wall. It has Bevo underneath it. And Angel Spazoff, the Olympic strength coach, was just training a group of volleyball players, and they were doing a medicine ball scoop toss with these 12-pound medicine balls, and the ceiling's about 18 feet high, and they're throwing these medicine balls up, and the ball's coming, 5 feet from the ceiling. Mm-hmm. And I had never seen a Dynamax medicine ball before, these big, heavily stitched, heavy-duty medicine balls.
Okay.
And they were custom burnt orange and gray, I was like, wow, those are pretty badass medicine balls. The girls get finished. They put the balls in order, 10, 12, 14, 16 along this little rack. And Angel walks away, and there's about a 10-foot by 10-foot square of turf in the middle of the weight room, of the old weight room. So I grab about a 14-pound medicine ball, and I want to try a scoop toss.
Okay.
And I get to the power clean position, and I just, with all my might, I've been wearing my gear now for 20 minutes as a new hire.
Okay.
Okay, because Rock said I had to, there's not any groups coming in until later. Scoop toss, grab this medicine ball, and I throw it as hard as I can, and it goes through the ceiling tile, bounces around on top of the grid, knocks a light fixture down, and it comes down like 5 feet down, and it brings a whole grid of ceiling tile down with a light fixture, an industrial light fixture hanging by its wires. The white stuff is floating down around me like snow. And I'm standing there looking in shock, like,
right.
Evan Marcus, the first assistant at Texas, Evan is 6'1", at that time 300 pounds, and like a world-class strongman. And he looks like a Russian, like Greco-Roman wrestler. Mm-hmm. He comes walking out, and he looks up and he goes, turns around and walks back in the office.
You don't want any part of this.
Rock Gullickson walks out of the office, and he looks up and looks down and he surveys the mess, and he goes, "Not a great first day, Russ."
Well, nowhere to go but up from there, if they keep you after that first day.
The second one, we are in max gain, and it was December, North Carolina, and it was cold, like 20-something degrees cold. We're all, there's probably a not kosher way of saying this, but we're all like really close to each other. You know the terminology.
Yes.
And we're all very tight leaning. And Wojo, I'd mentioned him earlier. Yeah. I hear a rustling outside, and Wojo is walking up in a squat position like this, and he stands in front of us, and we're it's like about midnight, and he has his red lens on his head, and he's looking at us like he's acting like he's a monkey, right? And he walks up to us, and he starts doing like the
Michael Jackson Thriller move,
the Space Invaders dance.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And he's like, dude it, and it's so surreal. Like we got frost coming out of our mouth, we got frost over our tent. And he's like in 6 inches of snow, and he's just doing like this little dance for our entertainment. And the NCOIC guy comes out like in a Suburban, and he drives up, and he's like, "Hey, gentlemen, what are you guys all huddled in your tents for?" He goes, It's 94. It's like 94 degrees." And he goes, "Oh, that's what my son two's reading my body temperature." He goes, "Really? It's like 28 degrees." He goes, "Y'all have fun. I'm going home."
Yeah.
And this left us out there in it. But Wojo making the best of a bad situation, making everybody laugh. It's just the kind of guys you ran into in that course. It's pretty amazing.
Yep. There's always that one guy where just nothing can get him down. And he shows up in whether rain, snow, whatever it is. And like I said, what I said earlier is like, quitting is contagious, but so is staying, and so is having a good time in the worst of conditions. And all it takes is that one guy to do that and have a good time, and everyone's like, "Yeah, we can have a good time here. We can have a good time anywhere."
Absolutely.
I love it. Rusty, thanks so much for coming on the show. We got a live to get ready for.
All right, let's ride.
All right. Thank you, guys.